Hello, and welcome to my walk in the forest. I don't know about you, but I need about 15 pairs of sunglasses here to cope with the brightness. But I'm sure I shall manage. Now, as I see things in this world, the biggest problem the human race faces today, and has done for centuries, is the superiority of others. Now, no one is superior to me, and I am certainly not superior to anyone else. But superiority most certainly does exist, especially in ordinary daily life. You've got the office bully, the pub braggart with his bunch of keys prominently displayed, the BMW driver, the toxic male, or even the toxic feminist. Now, I'm not saying that feminism is toxic. It isn't. But feminism has been hijacked by a toxic element doing irreparable damage to that force. Now, I don't care if you're black, white, brown, yellow, pink, man, woman, left, right, gay, straight, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, or atheist, educated or uneducated, because education can be misplaced with many things, including indoctrination. And we are all indoctrinated to some extent. We can't help that. And when we are born and when we die, we are all equal at that moment. It is only society that corrupts our judgment, and we are constantly brainwashed into thinking that being superior over one another is normal. It most certainly isn't, and history will attest to that. That the master race of Germany didn't work out too well, and the chosen people of Judaism is being questioned right now. And an air of superiority is common among those who assume that they are better than others. And it's rife in certain social circles, especially in closed societies like Freemasonry. Freemasonry was once exclusive to stonemasons, but more widely known as a club for special people, forming a brotherhood which protects its own. And if you look on YouTube, there are some very interesting videos on masonry, not stonemasonry. But now, as I've said this before, and I'll say it once again, and it's always worth repeating, time after time after time. And ideally, what should be said to every child and every student repeatedly throughout his or her school life is something like this. You are in the process of being indoctrinated, like it or not. We have not yet discovered a system of education that is not indoctrination. And we're sorry, but it's the best we can do. What you are being taught here is a combination of current prejudice and the choices of this particular culture. The slightest look at history will show how impermanent these ideas must be. You are being taught by people who have been able to accommodate themselves to a certain thought laid down by the past generation. It all rubs off. And it's a self-perpetuating system. But those of you who are more robust and individual than others will be encouraged to leave and find ways of educating yourself and educating your own judgments. We must all try and move forward in life as best we can. But those that stay must remember always and all the time that they are being moulded and patterned to fit into the narrow and particular needs of this current society, which, by the way, needs changing drastically. However, everyone is capable of going to the library, studying the classics or history or whatever you want, the arts. But alternatively, you can buy a comic, or you can binge watch Netflix movies, and the choice is yours. Just remember that your university professor isn't God. He chose to become an academic and stay within the safety of university life rather than facing real life. His indoctrination was and is truly established in his little world of academia, where superiority is legendary. He might be a don, but can he tie his shoelaces, or can he change a car tyre? I would question that. And if you tell your superior man in the university about indoctrination, I'm damn sure that he'll have a very clever answer to bamboozle you with. And just let me say before I go any further that not all professors are alike, and some of them do actually have a degree of humility. Now, as I've said before, I'm not particularly a God person, but I tend to look at life pragmatically. I could be a spirit having a human experience, or I could be an atheist believing in nihilism and the pointless existence of life. But I firmly believe in the former. Why? Well, we live in a nihilistic society that only believes in the next pleasure, surrounding ourselves with endless toys and trivia, mind-bogglingly boring films on Netflix, or buying endless crap on Amazon. But if you subscribe to Prime, you get free films, equally boring, but at least the crap you buy is postage free. And people buy all the time, and then they complain about busy traffic, potholes everywhere, and climate change caused by the manufacture of consumer goods. But everyone still keeps buying stuff. Am I guilty? Yes, absolutely. But I'm very aware of the folly of doing so. And I'm also no innocent, and I've made more mistakes than my share, that's for sure. And I say that before anyone else does. There is something drastically wrong with Western society that needs to be addressed. What is it? It's the realisation that we are wrong in almost everything we do, and we constantly repeat it again and again, hoping for a different outcome, and it never comes. Like I said, I'm optimistic about the end of life, and no one, not even death, can take that away from me. It's called faith, and I would much rather have faith than the nothing that nihilism offers. And the constant pursuit of pleasure is futile, simply because we grow old, we run out of energy, become accustomed to lies, and eventually our enthusiasm dies. So just leave us older ones alone to cope with the inevitable the best way we can. At least we can do is offer our experiences for what they're worth. And just keep chasing the pleasures in life, or come to the conclusion that a moment of pleasure isn't enough for a whole lifetime. And we seem to be the caterpillars that turn into butterflies, who flutter for one day and think it's forever. It isn't. And the only real advice I can give you is this: the best advice I ever had. Never ever take a sleeping pill and a laxative on the same night. And also never lose your sense of humour. Before I go, I would just like to leave a link to someone who could quite possibly be the saviour of our country. I don't agree with everything that George Galloway says, but he's honest and he has integrity. If only people would give him a fraction of the support that his wife gives him, he will go a long way. Having said that, he does have many enemies, and there are those who don't want him in Parliament. The truth is, this country badly needs more voices like George to challenge the establishment to its very core of corruption. And I encourage you to watch this video, and I'll leave it under the title of More as a link. So I'm finishing my walk. Thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.